Thank you, John. I just don't have a voice that projects, so I have to use the mic. The next person I'd like to introduce is a face that's familiar to probably just about everyone here. And that flagpole may be familiar to some of you who are former Kunita-ites and all, because that flagpole was dedicated by Troop 265 Brooklyn back in 1972 in memory of one of their fallen comrades that have passed away. Well, as we all know, times in 2010 are not like times were years ago, and it's impossible to keep a camp open when the staff outnumbers the campers. It's just impossible. And sadly, the council really had no choice but to close Kunita. However, there are parts of Kunita that have a historic memory. This flagpole from 1972's dedication is one of them, and it was moved here, again, by our heavy lift crew. At this point, I'd like to introduce, I still call him Mr. Family Camp, even though he's now the camp director of Camp Aquahonga and one of the original people who did the dedication, Sal Parmani. And of course,
my voice projects. It's a pleasure to be here. It's wonderful to be here. And when I address the leaders that come through Camp Aquahonga this season, I pose the same question that I asked the staff. Why are you here? Why are you here? I want you to know, I've been here in 10-Mile River in scouting 53 years. When I was 10 years old, I saw some guys carving neckerchief slides, and I asked them what they were doing. They told me, and they told me about the troop meeting. I went down to the meeting on a Friday night. There were 80 guys wearing spats, their shoes shined, in perfect uniform, marching and calling cadence, and I loved it. And a committee man came to me and he said, you here to join the troop? I said, yeah. He said, how old are you? I said, I'm 10. He said, you need to be 11 to join the troop. How old are you? I said, I'm 10. He said, you need to be 11 to join the troop. How old are you? I said, I'm 10. He said, you're 10 and you're deaf. Listen to me. You need to be 11 to join the Boy Scouts. How old are you? I said, I'm 11. He gives me an application. He says, have Mom fill this out and bring me 50 cents. 50 cents bought me the adventure of a lifetime. Why am I here? The first time I came here, my mother said to me, call Sunday, call Grandma's house, call collect, that's where I'll be. In those days, you went through the operator. So I told the operator, collect call. I hear her say, collect call from anyone from Sal. My grandfather answers the phone. Hello? She says, collect call for anyone from Sal? He says, Sal ain't no home, he go Boy Scouts, and hangs up on her. So I said, operator, maybe if he hears my name, hears my voice, he'll accept the charge. And I knew he was annoyed because he was listening to the ball game Sunday afternoon. Again, she says, I hear, hello, I have a collect call for anyone from Sal. Will you accept the charge? Lady, I try to tell you something. And I say, Pop, it's me. Sally, crazy lady, keep calling the house. She want to talk to you. I tell her you go Boy Scouts and she don't believe it. And I'll quickly tell you, when I got my eagle, today the kid gets the eagle. There's, it's like a bar mitzvah. It's a 3-day party. It costs thousands. They have a cake. When I got my eagle, we got a salute, and that was it. They pinned it on my shirt. That was it. I go home. My mother's sitting on the stoop with my aunts and my grandmother. I said, Ma, I got my eagle. She said, don't take it in the house. Why am I here? This is in my blood. And before I tell you about Joe Rod and the flagpole, I want to tell you what we're doing in Camp Aquahonga. We are putting together a time capsule. When I was in camp school in Hawk Mountain in June, the guy that ran the camp school, Pat Sterrett, is the scout executive, Delmarva Council, he said, where will we be 100 years from today? Where will scouting be 100 years from today? He said, I hope that we still exist. I'm optimistic, and so am I. And we got to thinking in Aquahonga, where will we be? Where will Aquahanga be 100 years from today? Well, unless medical science comes up with some really good ideas, I don't know that any of us will be here. Will the Scouts be here? Will Aquahanga be here? We're putting together a time capsule. We're going to bury it, and it's not to be opened for 100 years. Anyone who's interested in contributing a trinket, a patch, some piece of memorabilia peculiar to your troop, come by Aquahanga, give it to us, and we promise we'll put it in the time capsule. More importantly, I have asked for every leader, every troop, to get one leader and one scout to write a little note of why they are here. My staff is doing that. I hope that we can look down 100 years from now and smile when we see the people open that time capsule. So this morning they asked me to rededicate this flagpole, and Gene Berman asked me to keep it brief, but I decided the best way to do that is to keep going. So, this is the article I wrote for Dave Malatsky, Smoke Signals, which is the museum newsletter. Joseph Rosario Rodolico was a 10-Mile River Scout for many years, first arriving at 10-Mile River in 1940, and then serving on the 10-Mile River staff at Brooklyn Division 4 Camp Ipatanga in 1948. Joe Rod was a member of Troop 265 Brooklyn, and during his tenure as Scout, Junior Leader, Senior Leader, and member of the Troop Committee, he served his home unit and his Scouts in a variety of positions. But what Joe Rod is most remembered for is his artistic ability. As the official troop artist, he drew hundreds of sketches and created dozens of watercolor and oil paintings depicting his fellow Scouts at work and at play within the environs of the merry Greenwood that is 10-Mile River. Joe Rod was born in Sicily. His family immigrated to Puerto Rico and finally to the United States. As a young boy, Joe contracted rheumatic fever, an illness that would plague him the rest of his life and finally cause his death. His malady left him weaker than his fellows, and often his buddies would carry his pack, but his debility never deterred him from going camping with the guides. And he'd sit and draw and paint for hours. He was not fit enough to pursue his eagle, but he loved the woods and camping. In the late 1960s, Joe's heart began to cause him real trouble, an awful result of his rheumatic fever. He went for an examination and was told he needed the attention of a heart specialist. Dr. Michael DeBacke was a pioneer in heart surgery and based in Houston, Texas. Joe went to Houston and Dr. DeBacke operated on Joe. But too much time had gone by and Joe's heart was too weak to be repaired. Joe died in Houston, but his memory lives on among the Scouts of Troop 265. At a troop committee meeting, someone suggested the troop do something to memorialize Joe Rod. Erecting a flagpole in his memory was the idea the committee decided was best. And so a flagpole was placed in front of the Kunata Dining Hall. Troop 265 was a Delaware Division troop. Ipatanga, Gatoki, Kunata, and Chapagat. On it was a plaque that declared, in memory of Joseph R. Rodolico, who spent his most memorable summers at 10-Mile River, dedicated by Troop 265 Brooklyn, August 1972. Kunata is closed, but anyone who treads Kunata's trails, if he or she listens in silence, can hear the cheering and the singing that echoes down through the years in the place of the high hemlock. And Joe Rod's voice will definitely be heard among them. So it was decided that the Kunata flagpole should, for posterity, stand proudly in front of the 10-Mile River Museum. And here it is. And I'll ask the guys from 265 to come on up here